What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are having some fun in Palworld, and we are going to breed up an absolute beast mode of a Shadowbeak. Shadowbeak is an ideal combat pal, offers some super big bombs, and then additionally, these bombs are also, of course, big shots, big cooldown. So we've got 3 big cooldowns here, making Shadowbeak the absolute perfect pal to throw out there when you need some dark damage to drop 3 big bombs, and then swap over to another pal while all of these abilities are on cooldown. Now, since these bombs are so big, once again, the long cooldowns, 45 seconds on Divine Disaster, 55 seconds on Dark Laser, and then 30 seconds on Nightmare Ball. So it does take a little while for these abilities to come off cooldown, and that is where the swapping comes in. Now, anytime you're putting together a kind of a higher end pal, the first thing you want to do is decide what passive skills you want. We are going to want Lord of the Underworld, 20% dark damage increase, Legend, 20% attack, defense, and then 15% movement speed, Ferocious for the raw attack, and then Musclehead for more attack. We're never going to be using this pal working around the base, so we can take that negative 50% work speed penalty as it just doesn't affect us. Now, Lord of the Underworld and Legend, of course, are not going to be passives that are available on a non-legendary alpha. So how are you going to get this? Well, we know what we want. Now we need to figure out how to get it. So figuring out how to get it became a lot easier thanks to community players. This particular document was posted up to Reddit by user Blowable, and it absolutely has an incredible amount of work to it. I will post a link to it down in the description below. This is a heavily trafficked spreadsheet, so make sure you make a copy of it for your own. That way you can access it directly whenever you want. Now, the first thing we're going to look down at these tabs at the bottom, Parent Search. Now, we, of course, are looking for Shadowbeak, so we're going to go and see how do you breed a Shadowbeak to begin with. Shadowbeak is a special pal in the game, so there is only one option outside of just Shadowbeak and Shadowbeak breeding. That is going to be Kitsun and Astagon. Now, Astagon, of course, is one of our alpha bosses that can be farmed. Kitsun is going to be a rather rarish spawn that's going to spawn right around here on the map. Now, of course, you can always brew a Kitsun and Astagon as well in your breeding. If you take a look at Astagon, lots of different ways to crossbreed to get yourself an Astagon. If you look at Kitsun, we've got some ways to crossbreed as well. Quite a few of them, in fact. The main thing here is, remember, we are going to be pulling legendary passives off of one of the level 50 alphas. Now, we need to find a way to get to that, and we are going to take the path through Astagon. So if we take a look at Astagon, this one can be crossbred using various forms, but we know we've got Lord of the Underworld. Now, Lord of the Underworld is only going to be available from Necromus. Now, with that in mind, we can get Legend and Lord of the Underworld from Necromus, as it is a legendary pet, and it does have that specific passive. So we're going to want to start off by breeding a Necromus with a Pyron Noct. Now, when it comes to getting these two, we all know where Necromus is. It is part of the Palladius fight, all the way up on the north side of the map. The Pyron Nocts are going to be just a regular old spawn at nighttime in the lava area. I personally usually I start off at this waypoint, and I'll fly all the way around the western side of the coast of the island at nighttime. The Pyron Nocts do stand out, so it will be easy to find. Now, since you have your Legend and Lord of the Underworld rolling just naturally on Necromus, After a few kills, you will unlikely get this. It's not super rare on the Chromis at all. Then you just need to get, of course, the opposite gender in a Pirate Noct. Now, on the Pirate Noct, you're going to ideally want no passive skills. If you have no passive skills at all, you are eliminating one of the layers of RNG. Now, if you did have any passive skills on it, you would want it to be one of the passive skills that are your target ending. So the only options I personally would want to look for on a Pirate Noct is either no passive skills at all, or having Ferocious or Musclehead, since Ferocious and Musclehead will roll on enemies just naturally, or on pals just naturally. Now, by crossbreeding these two, we then come up with the Astegon. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can find Kitsons naturally. Ferocious and Musclehead are not uncommon rolls. However, getting both of them on your Kitson could be a little bit of a challenge. Kitson is going to be spawning around this circle right here. So in this area here, I think I usually farm them right around the west coast. So around the 185-61 mark is going to get you your Kitson. Now, you can, of course, breed a Kitson as well, and that is what I did to make it easier to get the passive skills that I want. So since our end target is these four, the only things we have left are Ferocious and Musclehead. I have to get Ferocious and Musclehead on my Kitson. Now, I had been working on Pen Kings quite a bit, so I had a lot of good base rolls on Pen Kings already set up, ready to go. I've got this one with Ferocious and Musclehead. If you breed a Pen King with a Rushor, that is going to give you a Kitson. So I've got a Pen King with Ferocious and Musclehead. I bred that with a Rushor with Ferocious and got myself a Kitson that is a male to go with my female Astegon that has Ferocious and Musclehead. Now, after you get these two, these are your main bases for your final breed. By breeding these two together, it's only a matter of time you're going to get the quad and get Lord of the Underworld, Ferocious, Legend, and Musclehead all on your Shadowbeak. So I gotta say, I absolutely love the breeding system and crossbreeding system in Palworld. It's a whole nother level of kind of thought and gameplay to the game, and I am super digging it. So I plan on doing a lot of these high-end crossbreeds. If there's any in particular that you would like to see, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. But as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take it easy.